We should always have sufficient plaster on hand before starting a plastering job. Plaster comes in 25 kg bags, which is sufficient to cover around 6 metres squared. The plaster we recommend for the job is multi-finish. Your local DIY store will stock this in large quantities, as this type of plaster is most commonly used by professional plasterers for going over plasterboard, existing plaster and Artex. Multi-finish is a fine textured plaster, similar in feel to flour. It is mixed with water to produce a very smooth plaster and can be polished to a perfectly smooth finish. We will be using multi-finish for both skim coats. Plaster doesn't keep, so don't use plaster that has been stored. PVA plays an essential role in plastering, where it is used both as a primer to seal the walls before plastering and to help adhesion. It is mixed with water, and part used PVA can be stored in an airtight tub for use later. You'll also need a large brush or roller for applying the PVA to the walls. It is essential that you mix PVA to the correct strength for your surface, as it can reduce the chance of plaster cracking or later falling away from the walls. A plasterer's trowel. Only use a proper plasterer's trowel for the job. The trowel should be clean and fully smooth. Use an 11-inch trowel for starting out. A hawk. Equally important is a plasterer's hawk for holding the plaster while you work. Again, don't improvise one, but purchase a lightweight one and ensure that it is kept smooth and rust free. A spray bottle. We'll be using this for applying a fine even coverage of water to the plastered wall in the later stages. Garden centres are good places to buy these. A spot board, which we use for pouring our mixed plaster onto. You can buy a spot board and stand, or use an old table with a large surface area. Clean buckets. You'll need at least a couple of these, and they must be kept thoroughly clean. And get a large flexi bucket for mixing your plaster in. It makes keeping the bucket clean easier because any dried plaster can be knocked off without damaging the bucket. A large brush. Spend a bit of money here and ensure you get a nicely shaped pure bristle brush. We'll be using it to smooth out the edges of the plaster and apply water to the plaster later on, so it must be nice and soft and well shaped. Don't use it for applying PVA or for anything else. The quality of your finish will largely rely on the quality of this brush. A drill and mixing paddle are an essential bit of kit for mixing plaster. Don't try and mix plaster by hand. You can buy a proper mixer power tool, but a drill with a variable speed trigger will work just as well. Ensure your drill can run at very low speeds, as a full speed drill will send plaster everywhere. For plasterboarding, we'll need some extra bits of kit. Firstly, we'll need to use scrim tape for taping over the joints between boards to prevent cracking. It has a self-adhesive side and so sticks up quickly and easily. You'll need a large metal rule for marking and cutting the plasterboard sheets. It should ideally be metal to prevent the knife from damaging the straight edge, which would make it useless for marking out straight lines. Also, one with a handle such as this reduces the risk of you being cut in the event that the knife should slip. You'll also need a pencil to help with measuring and drawing lines on the plasterboard for cutting. A tape measure. As already mentioned, we'll be measuring plasterboard for accurate cutting during boarding out, so it's important that you have a good quality tape measure at hand to allow us to transfer those measurements accurately. A retractable knife. We'll need this for cutting the scrim tape and for cutting the plasterboard. Cutting plasterboard soon dulls the blade, so we'll use a disposable knife since it's easy to snap off a piece of the blade to get a new sharp edge. A hammer and clout nails. We'll be using a hammer and clout nails to fix the plasterboard to the walls in the correct fashion. Any general purpose hammer will do. It's important though that we only use proper galvanised clout nails which resist rust well. Any DIY shop will stock galvanised clout nails. A platform. If you have high walls or are plastering a ceiling, then you can greatly reduce your workload by getting hold of a step platform, sometimes called a trestle. They can be dragged around by your foot and provide a quick and easy step on and off, and a safer footing compared to step ladders when working above your head. Always use fresh plaster. Plaster has a shelf life, so only buy what you need. Keep your equipment at hand. Plastering is time sensitive and you don't have time to play hide and seek. Mixed PVA can be stored in an airtight container for later use. Check online for the best prices of plastering equipment and tools. Cleanliness is paramount and the key to a good plastering job. To recap, you will need sufficient plaster for the job, PVA glue pre-mixed, a large brush for PVAing, a pencil, a water spray gun, a tape measure, a retractable knife, a hammer and clout nails, and a spot board and table. You will also need a plasterer's trowel, a plasterer's hawk, clean buckets, minimum of 2, a large soft bristle brush, a drill with mixer attachment, and a step or platform.